Hello, Gino here, and you are listening to Otherworld Connections. We live in a critical time where now, more than ever, angels and fairies, hidden forces, are bursting at the seams of the veil to work with us. They want to see us change in order to save the world and live in service to others. So join me on a journey to empowerment and enlightenment with an angelic angle and a fairy focus, looking into ways to improve our current situation, morality, archetypes, solutions for self-healing, and spiritual sciences in light of theosophy and other occult traditions. Hello. Welcome back to Otherworld Connections. In today's show, we are talking about Orgonite. It's the Orgonite special. When I publish the episode, the links will be in the description. And I publish it on my website, thesecretkindergarten.com, or my channels, YouTube, otherworldconnections.substack.com, Odyssey, Rumble, and all main podcast platforms. So, let's figure out who we are, what we are to do, what is best to do, how to heal, how to change, how to achieve goals, and live successful lives of service by making those otherworld connections. All right, we're talking about Orgonite. Now, I want to tell you about... I've got to try and post this in the chat. Let's bring this up. It's this... I call it a zine. If you're old enough, I'm 42. Back in the day, there were these things called zines. Well, there's this zine. I don't know if it really is a zine. Called It was one episode, one issue. Muffin Papers. So I'm trying to multitask here. I'm going to put it in the chat if I can. Let's just do this right now. Well, let's get in there. Okay, it's called the Muffin Papers, and it's like it's in the Element chat. If you are listening, it is. I don't know if you know it, but it's like it's just amazing. I can't believe this book. You can get it on Internet Archive, and it's all anything like just any objects, anything to do with magical items, just anything to do with metaphysics as physical objects, fetishes, as they say, as the American Indians say, just anything metaphysical in 3D reality that you can find or you can create or you can make is in this book. And this is where I found out about Orgonite and how to make it. And obviously there's not just Orgonite, there's stuff on dowsing, on mandalas, symbols, ways you can use symbols, like cleansing, healing water, charging water, every single thing. And it's kind of funny as well, and it's legit. It's 100% legit. It's so good. It's like literally my favorite book. It's so good. So, the Muffin Papers. Let's go up to page 1. Here we go. This book, The Muffin Papers, was first printed in 2004 by 8 individuals named First Creator, Nat, Alicia, Michael T, Ken, Susan, Greta, Dorothy, and Edward. It just sounds like a bunch of, non-assuming 15-year-olds, but it's probably not, but just bless these people. Within the pages of this book, you'll be amazed at the information that can be researched and experiments tried and tested. Experiments with easy-to-follow instructions that you can see clearly, the sciences that can help you and others. The book carries in-depth insights on technology from here on Earth and beyond the stars. That's the word I'm looking for. Technology. Natural technology. NI. NT. Natural intelligence. Natural technology. In life, always seeks from here and beyond the stars. In life, always seeks the truth, the facts, and the origin of where all things came from, that you may never misinterpret or be forced to accept misconstrued information about the true facts. So yeah, basically, yeah, technology and tools to keep you on track. So that's a theme of Other World Connections. So it's literally the Muffin Papers. Yeah, gee. So, Orgonite. How to make one. Let's just go into how to make one because I'm taking too long. Brought to us by Don and Carol Croft. Don and Carol Croft. Carol's a Don. I think they're both psychics, and they were just mega Orgonite gifters, and they formulated what is known as Orgonite today. Wilhelm Reich discovered the concept of Orgone, which pretty much is prana, chi, the fifth element, pretty much. But he studied on how it actually operates. And he studied it in a way that it was separate to us. So in the sense that it could be used therapeutically if manipulated. Anyway, so Tower Busters. What you can do, the best way, if you're interested in these kind of things, is to just make some and see what happens. And yeah, things definitely happen. I'm a bit of an Orgonite freak because I just tried it once. Okay, the Tower Buster is an Orgonite muffin. For a radius of 1/8 to 1/4 mile, it continuously converts negative energy into positive beneficial energy wherever it is placed or buried, and thereby neutralizes the harmful physical and mind control effects of microwave cell towers. If you know how far down those rabbit holes you go, well, Orgonite's a solution for those things there. Wherever it is placed or buried, and thereby neutralizes, yeah, I already said that, hence the name, Tower Buster. Instructions are based on Croft's update on Holy Hand Grenades and Tower Busters. And Holy Hand Grenade, I think that is Monty Python. So there's humor in this. It is kind of crazy, so crazy can be funny. Alright, gather ingredients. You need a muffin pan. You need quartz crystals. So quartz crystals are key here. Any quartz crystals. You can get the garden quartz as well. They work great too. Low quality works just fine. There we go. It's okay to use broken pieces. And we've talked about broken pieces of crystals, that they are more powerful, in my opinion. So there's a correspondence there. Broken pieces going into the Orgonite. And Orgonite kind of amplifies what's going on with the crystal too. At least 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch long. If pieces are smaller than this, use more than one. You can get crystal chips, right? You need metal particles. Okay, so you can chop up like scouring pads. Don't chop up the stainless steel ones, especially if you've got sensitive skin. You'll get skin AIDS. Don't do it. So a copper or brass scouring pad. I think you can buy brass ones, right? Or if you go to a machine shop, a metalwork shop, engineering shop, especially engineering shop, they should be happy to give you some. I don't know, bake them a cake. Yeah. So you need metal particles, and then you need resin. But wait, let's talk about the metal particles. Any type of metal, shavings from machine shops. Oh, small nails, pins, paper clips, BBs, copper or zinc coated ball bearings work. For those in the States, you could take out shotgun shells and take out the ball bearings. Yeah, but that can be expensive. Right, resin and catalyst. So fiberglass resin. You just go to your DIY shop, wherever you are. Here it's Bunnings, Mitre 10, Australia, Bunnings. America is Home Depot, I think. Yeah, so go there and get resin, fiberglass resin. You can get waterproof ones for, working on boats. Working with boats, you can get, I do recommend getting the waterproof one. Marine grade is what I'm trying to say. marine grade, and then they just last forever. They literally last forever. Okay, so resin and catalyst. You can just get whatever cheap one. Fiberglass, epoxy, clear or acrylic or marine. Okay, marine is the best because you can then put them in the sea. All right. So you need a big sheet of cardboard because it's going to get messy. You need rubber gloves, absolutely. Paper container for mixing the resin, or something disposable, or that kind of thing. I also say like a big bucket or like an old suitcase to just chuck everything in, because this stuff is so messy, and actually it's pretty frustrating to make for me because it's just so sticky and messy and blah. And then at the end you can just go throw it all in, like Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys clearing off all the stuff off his car with the hockey stick. You can just get a hockey stick and scoop everything off the table into a big suitcase when you're done. You need old spoons or plastic spoons, that kind of thing. A stick or chopsticks for stirring the hardener into the resin. Okay. Right, so you put a small crystal into each muffin hole, and then you put in your metal particles, your little metal shavings. And don't fill it all the way up, just nearly fill it. And then you mix your resin, and then you pour the resin in to the muffin holes, the muffin containers. That's it. Just do a little by little in each hole, in each muffin, because it'll take time to drip down to the bottom, and that is it. And then you deploy them once they've set and cured. And here's what they say: drive-by technique. Bust at least all the towers within a 10-mile radius of your home by tossing a tower buster out of your car window in the vicinity of a cell tower. More fun. Don also makes tower busters in 3-ounce Dixie paper cups to shoot them from a spud gun to reach targets he can't get close enough to. This guy was hardcore. Enhancements. You can add bits of rose quartz, kyanite, amethyst, garnet, pyrite crumbs, activated charcoal, charged water, sacred ash, and charged water and sacred ash are explained in this book. Literally everything is in this book. Everything. And everything is in it as a springboard, and then you can go and research further into the things that you're interested in. Alright, how are we for time? Yeah, so then you just go and gift them. And oh my gosh. It'll probably take me 2 hours just to tell you the stories of what happened with the Orgonites, but there's funky stories. You make Orgonites and you're going to have some funky stories to tell. That's all I can say, as a guarantee. It clears the way. It exposes psychopaths. It brings out good ideas that were already there in people. It's kind of manipulative in that sense. But what it really shows is what we're being bombarded with externally that is affecting everybody. So I used to bring my Orgonite zapper to work, and I had a radionics kit, which was I do have one. It's a frequency generator, and you can put a crystal or a stone on it, and I've got a stone collection that do different things. And I'd bring this stone that would just sort of make you it would just make you humble. There's no other way to explain it. And this is true. This is why I'm into this stuff. And I'd tape the thing, because I was working with, basically a blue-haired feminazi, okay? And I would bring this thing and tape it. And anyway, it was a retail environment. And so there was a bit of stress and pressure. And one thing that used to really, really yank my crank was people that would come in and lie and then blame me. And now you're in retail, right? That's like 80% of everybody that come in. So I put this thing under the counter and people would confess. People would confess to me that they weren't even telling the truth. Not all the time. People would get more angry, and then you'd know that they were definitely one of these dark triad personalities. But all I'm saying is that, like, you know, if you're interested in this sort of thing, make some Orgonite, put them around your house, see what happens. You'll probably make a friend. Someone will come onto your property for a reason. Just nice things start to happen in the environment and with people. So that's why I am doing this whole show on Orgonite, because it's pretty cool and it's pretty magic. And I think, you know, we need all the help that we can get. I certainly do. And obviously I tend to look outwards for help and solutions. And this clears a bit of the air for you to get back inward, to look at yourself. Yeah, you can enhance it. I mean, in this book, they say that, you know, it heals, like it heals animals and it heals aches and pains and headaches. They even say that the black helicopters show up. The people here in Doncroft believe that there's a team, a team on the CIA or something, that have ways of picking up on the positive effects with some kind of radar, and they come to clear them away. You know what? My first Orgonites, and then we met the neighbours. I made my first Orgonites in South Auckland, and we were living next to essentially a crack den. This lady on meth. We call meth crack here because it's basically New Zealand's crack. And I made some Orgonites, and we ended up being friendly with the neighbour. And we're talking, you know, a block of units. We're talking like, you know, there's the wall and then there's their living space. And they were telling us a story about the black helicopter. This is after I made the Orgonite. I'm not saying that's true and that's what happens, but I think police harassment with helicopters is a real thing. Does the Orgonite do something that exposes the harasser? I think it does. Does it work on a... Oh, there's a helicopter in the background now. I'm telling you, weird things, like weird things happen with Orgonite. Are they always good? Or I don't think they're ever bad. The missing children story, the missing child story, the attempted child abduction that happened outside my house. The child broke free from the assailant right where I planted my earth pipe Orgonite for the river and the entrance to the walkway. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. Did the Orgonite did the Orgonite prompt the sick individual to expose himself at a time that allowed the girl to escape? I don't know. But since I've been doing Orgonite, I feel that it's clearer to me who in my environment, in my surroundings, is good or is bad. And I think that's helpful. A bit of a slow show today. Let's read Orgone Explained by Brian Ferguson. Let's look at some keywords. Orgone. The vital, primordial cosmic life force energy that allows us to sustain life in our universe. The term is also commonly referred to as life force energy, chi, and libido. This will be illustrated in blue, as this is how Orgone in general is viewed. And Flea Plurable in the chat. Hey Flea, Flea says years ago they used to call that Orgone device a holy hand grenade. Good tip, sounds like a doable home project. Thanks, Flea. Orgonomy is the study of orgone energy. And orgonomy, the study of orgone energy, was done by Wilhelm Reich in the early 1900s. Orgonite, devices that handle orgone by using a resin metal matrix. The name orgonite can also be used to refer to the matrix compound itself. Organic material, matter that has life properties like an organism. I will use this term in a sense that it does not encompass organisms. Non-organic material is matter that has formed without naturally gaining organic properties. An example of this is aluminium, which is the third most abundant element in Earth's crust and can be utilized with little synthesis. Also, an organic material can be processed enough to lose most or all of its organic properties. This process gives off DOR, which is deadly. They call it deadly orgone. There's either positive orgone or negative orgone, and some people call negative orgone deadly orgone. I think it props up probably their orgonite that they're trying to sell. But that's okay, orgonite does work. Just don't feel fair about things. And the other thing I wanted to say is it's a synthesis of organic and inorganic, the resin being the inorganic and the metal being organic, and the crystal being organic. And it's a synthesis of both that manipulates the orgone field. Or in the orgonite sense, it cleanses it. Orgone field, an energy threshold that allows orgone energy to move with objects as well as naturally accumulate. This will be used synonymously with the term orgone layer. Orgone particle, the smallest possible self-sustaining portion of any orgone energy. Some may refer to this as a bion. POR, positive orgone energy. DOR, deadly orgone energy. People, Wilhelm Reich, a scientist and doctor that has contributed more than any other to life force energy research. He was born in Dobzau and had an Austrian nationality. He is best known for his orgone accumulator, which he devised with intentions to heal. Much of his research has been destroyed and viewed as nonsense by many petty people of his time. He was a pupil of the renowned Sigmund Freud. We will do more on Wilhelm Reich another day. I've skipped him out because this is just about getting on and making orgonite. And okay, this is kind of sad, but I think Julia wants me to say it. But my partner Julia, her grandmother, her nonna, passed away recently, and Julia's mum wanted me to make some orgonites because Julia's mum is into all that sort of thing too. And basically, Julia's grandmother was just not letting go, and she had to go. And I don't know how to say that. Very sad. But she was ready to pass away, and she just couldn't let go. And I think Julia's typing now. She's trying to save me from myself. Anyway, I made some orgonites, and I made them especially for her grandmother, and she was finally able to let go and go peacefully because she was suffering so much. And she was able to go peacefully. And Julia always wondered if it was a coincidence or if orgonite actually helped her. And that is the thing about orgonite. You do it for a reason, or you do it with faith that it's going to work. And then when things happen, and you always go back and think, I wonder how much your orgonite had to do with that. R.I.P. Nonna Tilde. Okay. Karl Hans Welz is the inventor of the orgonite compound, and the leader in publicly available Orgone technology. Oh, apologies, I thought it was Don Croft. He has played an important part in the advancements in applying Orgonite in our world to better it. And he's got books out and everything. Karl Hans Weltz, yes. James DeMeo, author of the Orgone Accumulator Handbook, one of the many beings that has contributed to bringing back Wilhelm's research. And there's a lot of healing and stuff going on there that I personally would like to explore. One thing I want to say is Wilhelm research, we will talk about cloud busters affecting the atmospheric layer with Orgone, which also includes affecting chemtrails and clearing them. Allegedly, I have never made one. But this comes from Wilhelm Reich's research on the connection of the stratospheric layer, or the clouds, to the human body, the human biome. Okay? And that's a big can of worms in the truth movement there, right? Lots of people talking about the connection between certain medical interventions, certain atmospheric interventions, and the intervention of human body and human freedom. Wilhelm Reich, there was this connection between the clouds and the human emotions, and that he was working on therapies to do with the clouds and the feelings. Something like that anyway. All right. And the aura. There is a lot of elaborate documentation on what the aura is and how to analyze it. But for the sake of the document, I will assume that it is a human's Orgone layer that is most noticeable. So we're just talking about unseen energy force. All right. What is Orgone? It's a life force energy that is vital to life. It is a physical energy that can be seen and felt. I do believe that an organism can exist where there is no Orgone for a short time, but the organism would quickly deteriorate. This doesn't change the fact that Orgone is primordial and responsible for the creation of all life. Our Earth is said to be a miracle. The way everything works together to sustain life is amazing. The thought of such a complex system being active for so long is mind-boggling. Orgone allows everything to be interconnected and be manipulated by man for our benefits. There is an abundance of positive Orgone energy in relation to deadly Orgone energy, and thus can be harnessed in a positive manner for more effectively than a negative one. Orgone energy is all around us. It is in the vacuum of space. It radiates from all living entities and is also abundant in organic materials alone. Orgone can engulf and pass through non-organic materials. According to Wilhelm Reich, Orgone travels in the atmosphere with the spin of the Earth, moving slightly faster than the Earth spins. How does it behave? The big question is, how does it move? Some people believe it pulses like sound or radiates like light. I think people think it works a bit like how a Wi-Fi signal works. Wilhelm Reich implies that it flows in his research like air or water, just not subject to physical forces in the same manner. You know, when I make an Orgonite, I make a batch of Orgonite, and as soon as the resin starts setting, it rains heavily. Every time I do it. I will be going with the flow because if it was not a flowing energy, it would not be able to change direction by attraction. There is a possibility that Orgone is influenced by larger potentials. Orgone is attracted to organisms and organic materials. It is undetermined whether concentrations of Orgone stay within an object because of an Orgone-generated field or because of attraction. I assume that it has a field because it goes with my matrix theory. What does it look like? Orgone can be seen with the naked eye as a radiant blue colour. Orgone would not have colour if it were a pulsation. The only way an orgone pulsation can appear coloured is if the orgone particles were to enter the eye in a similar fashion that visible light does. But cameras can pick up on orgone energy. Thus, orgone must be an energy that can be genuinely visible. So orgone will appear as a flowing blue current in the open atmosphere or in outer space. Orgone can be seen as an energy engulfment of an object. You will see it, but it will be limited to an orgone field. Let's have a look down here. Time. Orgone matrix theory. This goes hand in hand with the structural link concept coined by Karl Hans Welz. The underlying idea of structural linking is the shortest distance between 2 points is a structural link. Basically, there is no distance and everything happens instantaneously. This sounds like explaining the law of vibration. The energy moves through the matrix, which is immensely complex, giving it an illusion of a flow. I use flow just so you can draw a picture. James DeMeo depicts orgone as pulsating and flowing energy. The orgone matrix theory may apply to the Orgonite matrix or the accumulator layered matrix. These types of matrices are on a much smaller scale than what is talked about in the following text. Okay. I think that's enough. Oh, the image below starts with the Earth. There's an image of the Earth with a tree, one tree on it. That's the outermost layer, and then it moves through the layers. So there's the Earth layer, planet Earth layer of orgone. Then you zoom in, and then there's the tree on planet Earth, which has its own layer of orgone. And inside the tree is a birdhouse with a bird on it. Now the birdhouse has its own little layer of orgone if you zoom in. And then if you zoom in again, the bird that's in the house itself has his own little layer of orgone too. So, as above, so below, as within, so without. Okay. Humans have the ability to alter their fields to detect all layers through mental exertion, but our generation will be greatly limited as we are far too indulged in our material world. The ability for humans to iterate through the matrix and whatnot will be depicted more in detail later in the document. And these weird objects that people dig up and find. Recently there was that dodecahedron object, that ancient thing that they dug up recently. When I see things like that, I automatically think Orgonite. Not exactly Orgonite, but some kind of tool or device or technology that affects the spirit or affects the mind. Okay, now we're going to look at the Chem Buster. This is the opus magnus, is that how you say it? Of Orgonite. So we're going to look at the Orgone Generator Bible by, who's this by? John Grau, the one that was Jonah. I've got an Orgonite sitting in front of me now that I make in a puja, which is a copper vessel. And I filled it up with all kinds of things, including resin. There are crystals on top, and one crystal point is lying on its side, pointing at me. And it's just about 1 inch away from my sternum. And I think that's why this show is a bit stop-starty and slow. Because I'm not feeling that nervous energy like I've got to do all these things. I'm like, oh, it'll be alright, I'll just say the next thing when I feel like it. The Orgone Generator Bible. There is a lot of information on the internet about the dangers of harmful ELF. ELF, extremely low frequency, microwaves, that are directed, I think it is ELF. Let's just, I'm pretty sure. ELF. So you don't catch me Googling things on the show. I think it's this Orgonite just telling me to just take my time. Yeah, below 300 hertz. There we go. I wanted to get a number there. extremely low, below 300 hertz. We can hear down to allegedly 20. Okay. And yet, extremely low frequencies are harmful, or can be harmful. Well, anyway, let's just read it, because I'm not the expert. I just made some Orgonite and I think it's cool, to be honest. Okay. Alright, so there's information on the internet about the dangers of harmful, extremely low frequencies that are directed at nice spiritual citizens by the corrupt political element of all countries via 1. Cell phone towers, 2. Radionics machines, and 3. Black magic spells. So this is especially a cool thing about Orgonite. If you go down these rabbit holes of we are being affected by radionics machines and by black magic spells, you got to get into Orgonite. Okay, you've got to. It's the only way to fight back and to create a sense of balance against that information, whether it's true or not. Assume it to be true and do something about it. And the only thing you can do about those things is Orgonite. That's what's so cool about Orgonite. Yes, even a black magic spell is a form of particle frequency that departs the locality of the sender and arrives in the locality of the receiver, perhaps through the Orgone matrix, guys, as a form of energy that is plainly unhealthy. Since these ELF microwave producing towers are designed for the purposes of thought control, we all need to know how to shut these devices down. I will admit right now I am a little bit confused, because I thought like the 5G towers and stuff, it was actually 5G, which is 5 gigahertz, which is extremely high frequency. So that's got me a bit confused. But I know when you look into it, they talk about it being a microwave. And here they're saying microwaves are extremely low. And again, Orgonite, making the Orgonite, you almost don't have to, like, once you start making Orgonite, I felt less inclined to go down those rabbit holes, in the sense that I felt like I didn't need to. Even if it's placebo effect, we know the placebo effect works. Okay, some of these towers are quite obvious to see, like those 5G tower arrays, those hideous AI-looking alien robot tower things. Some others are quite disguised. Now, I know this is all a different story in the US of A, where I'm not from. But they have a photo here of an American flag, which inside the pole is the tower. How completely evil indeed. As we know now, the main usage of such ELF emitting devices is that of the thought control of the populace. Such structures emit frequencies that mimic thoughts, and which are transmitted directly inside of the citizen's mind, sending him/her a barrage of fake urges, desires, and instructions. And just to bring it right home, to be extremely personal, I tend to get a bee in my bonnet about things. You know, when people say a bee in your bonnet, well, having a bee in your bonnet, not good. For me, that's like getting stuck on an experience or a thought or a feeling. And the Orgonite I've made here is to calm that, to calm that bee down. And it works. It works. Is it ideal? No, it'd be better to just not have it, so I don't have this big metal bowl in front of me. I don't use it all the time, but... Healing devices. The author here, John Grau, is claiming that we are being sent a barrage of fake urges, desires, and instructions. In this manner, a person may be effectively controlled, since any decent psychologist or philosopher will tell you that thought directs action. Well, Otherworld Connections, we've been covering that, haven't we? If I get a thought to walk in a certain direction, or to eat a certain food, or even take a certain drug, and if I take this thought to be my own, I will more than likely do as the thought has directed me to do. So this is the rabbit hole, right? You can get really carried away. I'm not carried away as in you can get really concerned about this stuff. And I've probably been the most concerned about this. And I've seen others get a bit freaky on this. And, fair enough. And hence the Orgonite special today. Orgonite good. Alright, so let's go to, how are we for time? We'll read a little bit more, and then I want to talk about the Chem Buster. Please examine the following quotation by a pioneer in electromagnetic mind control. This is Dr. Jose Delgado, on record in Congress in 1974. Man does not have the right to develop his own mind. This kind of liberal orientation has great appeal. We must electrically control the brain. Someday armies and generals will be controlled by electric stimulation of the brain. Not good. How bad can it get before we all collectively do something about this? How many ordinary citizens take prescribed medications for apparent headaches when there is nothing wrong with them aside from the fact they are being ELF'd by the world's corrupt governments? How many ordinary citizens are placed within mental institutions because of the barrage of voices that they hear? And you know what? I will say, this is the thing that's interesting. Like, we read this, and two examples in New Zealand that I thought, hang on a minute. The Manurewa train station plays classical music, plays types of music that are deemed to calm people, to stop all the violence breaking out on the platform. Yeah, that's how ghetto that place I was living is. So, the council's gone, oh, let's do this thing. Well, how do they know about that? And if anyone knows about it, they only know about it because of these things being implemented by, in this case, a local body government. What the heck are they doing? Playing music to calm people down. How do they know about that? I know that we know, right, that music does this, that, and the other thing. Do you get what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is they are doing it to us so we can do it back. And we can do it to ourselves in a good way, and we can do it to others around us in the right way, in a good way. And it's healing, it's helpful, and it's protecting. It's protecting by exposure. Okay, how are we for time? Okay, one of the easiest Let's face it, it is much better to discuss the methods of stopping something harmful rather than endlessly discussing the very thing that ought to be eradicated in the first place. Orgonite might be good to make for Christmas gifts, says Flea in the chat. Yeah, good idea, Flea, actually. Really good idea. Omega Logos! Hey, man. Yes, Orgonite holy hand grenades. Yeah! I'm glad you heard this one. I know that you know a lot about Orgonite too, Omega Logos. Alright. One of the easiest types of Orgone generators to make is called the Tower Buster. And yeah, it's easy and it's good. And once you do those, you might get the bug, and then you can start playing around with different things. One of the things people do is wrap a copper coil around the crystal, and they use a better, bigger, fancier crystal. A quartz-based one. You can't go too far wrong because pretty much everything is quartz. Everything is silica. Excuse me, I should have muted that. Alright. Now I'm going to... Oh, it's a slow show. Page 24. Go into my notes. See, I'm sharing all the stuff I don't normally share. That's me looking at my notes and going back and forth. Okay. The Chem Buster. Now the Chem Buster, I'm going to tell you what it looks like. It's a bunch of basically plumbing copper pipe, probably about 2 inches wide, the hole being 2 inches diameter, 1 to 2 inches, and probably about 6 to 8 feet tall. 5 of them lined up, 5 pipes, stuck in a giant bucket, stuck in a bucket, like a 20-litre bucket. 20 litre is 5 gallon. 4 gallon, something like that. 5-6 gallon bucket, a bucket, like a paint bucket. And inside the bucket is the Orgonite. So that's full of resin. So that's a big, expensive project. And 5 or 6 copper pipes. We'll find out. So that's why I haven't made one, because I can't afford it. But I really want to make one. Oh my goodness. And your addiction to making Orgonite, if you get into it, leads you to the Holy Grau, which is... no pun intended there. The Chem Buster. Okay, the first Chem Buster I ever saw, this is from Orgonite Primer by Orgonite Bible by John Grau. The first Chem Buster I ever saw was the one Don Croft sent me back in 2002. I mean, this guy is like a saint, this Don Croft. The very first day I set it up on the patio, we had a black helicopter visit us at 2 a.m., hovering loudly about 150 feet overhead and shining the brightest searchlight imaginable, going around and around our place in an obvious attempt to both intimidate and videotape us inside our home using special infrared technology, which is standard equipment today, even on local police helicopters. A chembuster will produce an intensely blue Orgone field that is easily seen on any infrared radar weather map. You probably won't get a visit from a black helicopter when you set up your chembuster because there are too many chembusters out there now, and they generally don't bother with the helicopter routine anymore. I learned that the helicopter routine is a thing. I didn't know that. I didn't even know what helicopters were doing in the sky, but I do know now that certain ex-convicts and such are on a list and they just fly around and harass people. But you can still see the blue Orgone field canted over your house if you go to a weather website and click on the infrared maps for your area. I'm doing this one day. You will be surprised to see that the Orgone field extends outward for many miles. It usually takes a couple of weeks for a new chembuster to acclimate to the local environment, so you may not see dramatic results with the chemtrails right away. But just hang in there for 2 or 3 weeks and you will begin to notice things. The more heavily laid the chemtrails in your area, the longer it takes for the chembuster to gear up to the task of dispersing them. The larger the chembuster resin, metal, chip, matrix base, the larger the diameter of the pipes used. The longer the length of pipes used, the more and larger crystals used, the more coils used. Means a more powerful punch of Orgone transmutation delivered by the chembuster. The bare bones basic chembuster is made with a 2-gallon plastic bucket and 6 1-inch copper pipes. The 6 upper pipe extensions are 5 feet long and plug into a 1-inch copper pipe coupler connected to the short pipes embedded within the matrix, resin, metal, chip base. And then the 6 pipes are evenly spaced out and you have to make a template to get them all even. But Wilhelm Reich was messing around with the clouds with just metal pipes set up in an array, with the pipes connected to a body of water. There was no Orgonite per se in his experiments, and he was making manipulations with the weather and clouds. Alright, so we'll just leave it there with 1.5 minutes to go. So Orgonite, what do you think? Give it a go. Bit of a hassle, but you can make a batch of the tower busters relatively cheap, and crazy things, in a good way, start happening to you. A man with tattoos all over his face mowed my lawns for free, for no reason. Another man came and cut the hedge, and he was contracted to do the other side, and he did it for free, because he just felt like he wanted to. Alright, so Orgonite good. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one. I love you guys. Bye.